Happy football season, everybody. I haven't made a video dedicated to football in almost 7 months, so it feels really good to be back, and it feels even better to begin the football season with one of my favorite series. If you haven't seen these videos before, this is a series where I analyze 5 really funny or dumb things in a particular sport. I've done this for baseball and basketball as well, so if you're interested, I'll leave a link to that playlist in the description as well as at the end screen. Now while I finish preparing these 5 jokes for you, enjoy this tweet from Antonio Brown. Speaking of the devil, let's talk about Antonio Brown. We asked you guys on Twitter to tell us what you wanted to be included in this video, and both Matthew Page and Jefferson Vital wanted Mr. Big Chest in here, so shout out to you guys. Mike and I did a video back in February dedicated solely to Brown, and not even a year later, and there's a whole other video's worth of stuff to talk about with him. His epic drama with the Steelers at the end of the last season concluded with him getting traded to the Oakland Raiders. Antonio got what he wanted, no more Big Ben, no more sunburned Jay Gruden, and as our pals Le'Veon Bell and Urinating Tree can attest to, no more Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio's latest antics revolve around a helmet issue with the NFL. Brown has filed 2 grievances with the league regarding a policy forcing him to wear a certain kind of helmet, meaning he won't be able to wear the one that he has worn every year up to this point. He even threatened to retire if he wasn't allowed to wear the helmet that he wanted. And I don't know how serious he was about it, but it's pretty funny to say the least. The good news for Brown is that this seems to have turned into a business opportunity. He has a few companies lined up looking to custom make a helmet for him while paying him to wear it. Maybe that was his master plan all along, maybe there is a method to his madness, or maybe he's just making it up along as he goes.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
Can't wait to see what wacky stories Antonio Brown headlines this season. Last year's Super Bowl was pretty underwhelming to say the least. Patriots and the Rams met in the Super Bowl for the second time this century, and the final score looked more like a Red Sox-Angels game. We definitely expected more from those two teams, and even though there were many who weren't thrilled with the matchup, particularly because Brady was a part of it, I'm sure those people still expected a more exciting affair.
Meaning they're going to the Super Bowl again.
Even though it seemed like the Patriots were finally viewed as the underdogs, many fans, including Sports Talk Barry, found themselves crying themselves to sleep after Tom Brady won his 5th Super Bowl. This was obviously the worst way to end an anticlimactic season, capped off by an anticlimactic Super Bowl. The NFL 100 ad probably featured the only exciting plays of the night. Let's talk about the New York Giants. New York sports fans that don't like the Yankees usually have nothing to cheer about. We've talked about this plenty in the past. The Giants decided to use their 6th overall pick in April's draft to draft quarterback Daniel Jones. This decision immediately caused pandemonium throughout the Giants fan base. I don't think anyone had Jones that high on their draft board, and this pick was the only upside to a dreadful season for Big Blue. The situation was very reminiscent of when the Knicks drafted Kristaps Porzingis.
Who the is this? This sucker might.
Now we're gonna count it as one, but there really are 2 jokes embedded in here. The first one being the fans treating Jones like Jesus after an incredible first preseason game against the Jets. They really changed their minds fast, and I guess that makes sense considering who their alternative option is, which brings me to my next point. How are the Giants not committing to starting Jones in the regular season? Eli Manning has done wonders for this franchise, but his time is done. The Giants spent their 1st round draft pick on Daniel Jones, and to have him as a backup is a slap in the face to Giants fans like myself. If they wanted to bench him, they should have used the draft pick on an impact player for this year, and then drafted a quarterback next year when Eli turns 73. It just doesn't make much sense to me. There's just something off about New York ownership. I swear they're all trying to make fans miserable. Andy Reid has been coaching in the NFL since well before I was born, and he's accomplished a lot in his career. Even for all of his success, he, like almost every other coach besides Belichick, has a fatal flaw. Actually, I take that last line back. Belichick's fatal flaw is running into Nick Foles in February, but I digress. Here is joke number 3. Andy Reid's record in the league championship series is really bad.
Andy Reid got outcoached by Bill Belichick again.
Reid lost 3 consecutive conference championships with the Eagles in the early 2000s and has a lifetime record of 1-6 in conference championship games. I've done all the analysis I feel I need to on this topic, and here's my final conclusion. That is a really bad record. He's a great coach, but his teams have been everything but clutch come championship series time. Our next one is a complete retcon of my last football video, and it's the AAF. I thought the league would take off and finally be able to compete with the NFL, and that dream ended pretty quickly. The league was actually fairly entertaining, and the timeline I'm about to run down with you overshadows that sentiment. The league played its inaugural season in February of this year. 52 days later, football operations were suspended, and then 15 days after that, the league filed for bankruptcy. The league I had spent 4 minutes and 13 seconds raving about only 7 months ago had lasted a total of 67 days. You'd expect the players to suffer from this the most, and they of course did. They didn't receive any severance pay, they were kicked out of their hotels, they lost their medical insurance, so if they were hurt from playing, they were straight out of luck. It was a complete disaster. The AAF left as quickly as it came, and I think it's safe to say in hindsight that the AAF ended in a complete dumpster fire. Our final topic of discussion here today is Max Kellerman. Stephen A's best friend had a football take a while back that looks about as bad as any take out there right now. Back in summer of 2016, Kellerman made the claim that Tom Brady was on the last leg of his career, and his career was on the verge of spiraling out of control. Falling off a cliff was the phrase he used. Now, any Falcons fans still in therapy can mute the video for the next part, but Brady went on to lead the Patriots to a Super Bowl victory in one of the greatest comebacks ever seen later that season. Even so, Kellerman stuck by his statement and continues to do so today. Since Kellerman's take, Tom has made it to 3 consecutive Super Bowls and took home 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Now, how many more rings Brady needs to win before Max ceases his freezing cold takes is yet to be determined, but at this rate, there may come a day when Brady needs to buy some extra fingers to store his Super Bowl rings. If that ever happens, expect him to ask Max to lend a hand. Now, those are the 5 jokes I wanted to go over today. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you all could support it by leaving a like, it only takes 2 seconds, and I'll save you half that time by showing you where the button is. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next, another football video in the form of if football players were honest, or a baseball video. Definitely let me know down below. I'd like to personally thank you all for watching this video
Again.
and I will talk to you all later.